This problem is pretty different from the previous one because these denominators are not the same. In fact, this guy doesn't even have a denominator. So the first thing I want to do is give him a denominator. I can always write things over 1. That's helpful. And then I need to figure out something that 6x, 2x, and 1 all go into if I want to get a common denominator. I need to find the least common multiple of these 3 things. So I think we might have done that earlier in this year, but if not, I'll explain it again very briefly. Basically, you want to look at each piece of this thing, this, and this, and consider the coefficients and the x's separately. So if I think about the 6, the 2, and the 1, what is a number that 6, 2, and 1 all go into? And if you think about that for a little bit, you'll see that they definitely all go into 6. That's the smallest thing that 6, 2, and 1 would all go into. The next thing I would need is for everything to be able to have at least one x. So the LCM here is going to be 6x. What I'm going to do next is take each of these fractions and make sure that the denominator is 6x. So I'm going to recopy the problem like I just did, and I'm going to say, okay, if I want that to be a 6x, I don't need to do anything to it. If I want this to be a 6x, I could triple it. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 3, both the top and the bottom, to keep things nice and balanced. And then for this guy over here, if I want this denominator to be a 6x, his top and bottom will be multiplied by 6x. The next thing I want to do is simplify what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and, for this left part, there's nothing to do but recopy the problem down. It's going to be exactly what it was. This 3 has to distribute to each part of this. So that's going to give me 6x minus 21y over 6x. And then this guy, whoopsie, not an equal sign, but a plus sign, 12x over 6x. So another way to look at this LCM thing, if this explanation did not make sense, is just to realize that you need all of these things to match. So you got to take the things that are smaller and figure out what you can multiply them by to make them all be the same. Now that all the denominators are the same and I've adjusted the numerators appropriately, I'm just going to go ahead and look at each numerator and combine the like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and when it pops back on, you're going to see over here the answer that I got when I combined the like terms. Alright, so if I combine these x terms together, I get a 22x, because 4x plus 6x plus 12x is 22x. And these guys are friends, and they make a negative 28y. And you might think I'm done here, but I would say that these coefficients, all of them, if there's a common factor among everything, you need to divide it out. And 22, 28, and 6 are all divisible by 2. So my real final answer is going to be 11x minus 14y all over 3x. And again, you may be tempted to cross off these x's, but you really can't do that because this guy also does not have an x, so it's not a common term among all of them. This is going to be my final answer right here.